Hello, hello, hello. Hey guys, I wanted to come on here and have a a very interesting topic, and I think this will be good for everyone or anyone who knows someone dealing with multiple sclerosis, and that it would be especially good for those who are newly diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So, first, thank you for watching my channel. If you're joining me on the Facebook page, which is Awareness Month for MS, thank you for joining me there too. My name is Roxanne Marion, and I have to ask for your forgiveness up front. I have a piece of candy in my mouth. It's actually a lozenge because I keep coughing, and I wanted to be able to bring this to you guys without coughing. So if you see in the description, I titled this, What is So Invisible About MS? Meaning, when you think of MS, you can basically see what people are dealing with when it comes to MS, or you think you can see it. So, MS is an invisible illness, and most people think, hey, but I can see people use a cane. I can see people in a wheelchair. I can see people using a walker. Those aren't the invisible things that we're talking about. We're talking about having to deal with cognitive situations. And let me first say there are, of course, things that you have to deal with that are invisible to other people, and there are physical things. um, Things such as nerve pain, things such as the heat and cold feeling that you can't stand the heat or you can't stand cold a lot. And this is a perfect example of what the invisible illness is. What I'm talking about is that it seemingly looked like I did not know what I was talking about. And I know what I'm talking about. I just can't find that word that I'm looking for when you heat resistance or cold resistance. See how it came to me? Those are the those are the things that a lot of people who have multiple sclerosis go through. So let me name it and let you know what it is. That specifically is called, look, I wrote down all the word finding. Of course, it's called word finding, Roxanne. You know this. That specifically is called word finding. When we feel like the word that we are searching for is right there on the tip of our tongue, but just can't find it. And if you could see what I was doing, I was going like this because I was trying to remind myself what that is when you grab something and it's hot, or what it is when you grab something and it's cold. It's just like someone who might have to describe, that place where kids and teachers are in that building. If they're trying to remember the word school, they might have to describe something in order to get that word to come to them. Or they might describe it for other people to see what it is that they are talking about. So, this is what happens with MS. With MS, if you can visualize, I'll say the old time phones. Let's go to something that more of us can visualize. If you can visualize a television being plugged in to the outlet, and it's working just fine because all the electricity is going to the television. But if something came up and caused that cord to be snagged or cut in some way, one, if someone cut it, they're going to be electrically shocked. But the electricity isn't going to get to the TV as easily as it would if it was just that full cord, if it was fine, if it was whole. And that is what happens with multiple sclerosis is our nerves when you have the nerves are trying to speak to the brain and it's trying to get the it's trying to get see I have a word lost there, but it's trying to get the electricity from the brain to the mouth. They're not able to connect because with MS, your nerve endings are frayed or there is a chunk taken out and the electricity is not able to communicate or the information is not able to communicate well. So what I have found with some of the invisible symptoms that come with multiple sclerosis is that one of the worst ones for me is the word find. And I say for me because everyone who has multiple sclerosis does not go through the exact same symptoms. So someone else, you may come across them and they may not have that same problem with the word find. I have that problem where it feels like the word is on the tip of my tongue. What I've learned is so many people say, if you just try to come up with another word, no one would even notice. And that's very possible. But the problem is that we notice. Another problem that people have with multiple sclerosis and an invisible illness is number two, excuse me, is memory issues. So I talked about the word finding problem, but sometimes people are struggling with more than just word finding. We might struggle with something, and I'm very careful about how I say this because a lot of times people say, "Oh, I have that same problem too." It's more than that. It's more than that. It's like having to remember to when you're walking, you know how your brain, you don't have to say out loud, I need my right foot to pick up. Sometimes you have to give yourself time for that processing to be completed. It doesn't work as fast as it used to. And that's the same thing with our memories. Some things should just be like that. And you see it every day because you see yourself getting in a car and you might drive to work and you don't even have to think about it. That is not the same for someone who should be able to recall things. Someone who has multiple sclerosis might not be able to recall things that good. Another part. So we talked about word find, we talked about memory. The third one is concentration and attention. Information processing is also a big part. And I just talked about that a little while ago when I said memory, but this is when you experience difficulties with following a series of complex instructions. And this can also be said to be your executive function. So if you see someone that's struggling with something that they've always done, they've always done something and all of a sudden they're having a hard time doing it. If it's someone who has multiple sclerosis, it's not that they look like they don't know what they're teaching. I used to be a teacher and I used to be a trainer. And our client came to watch me train and they said, it looks like she doesn't know the plans. Of course, I know the plans. I've been training this for 2+ years. I know the plans. But to someone else, it looks like I did not know it when I was really dealing with the information processing. I was not able to get to it quick enough. And it looks like that I'm stumbling over what I should be able to retrieve quickly. Planning and problem solving. This is the executive skills. And this may be impaired. Of course, it can be harder to see how your actions or decisions may affect you beyond the immediate future. Can you guys imagine that? I mean, I say, can you imagine it? It's hard for anyone who has multiple sclerosis to imagine that things that come easy to them, or even problem solving, and things that they should be able to quickly make a decision about. It's a problem. It's not that hard. You're an adult, you should be able to make that decision. Well, the research that I read today, it says it can be harder to see how your actions and decisions may affect you beyond the immediate future. This means that your decisions may not be as sound as they used to be if your executive skills are affected. It can't be more difficult to manage, or it can be more difficult to manage your day or even your health care. And depending who you are and what is part of your health care, sometimes we need to be proactive enough to say, hey, I need some assistance with remembering certain things. So I have made my surroundings be very specific to what I have difficulty with. So when it comes with my healthcare and the medicine that I have to take, I'm sure you guys have seen these things, pill holders. And I every Sunday, usually Monday now, because I think I just got off of my regular schedule. But I sit down with a bag of pills with, excuse me, with a bag of pills, and I fill this up. And I fill up all 7 days. I fill up the ones for noon, I fill up the ones for the evening, and I fill up the ones for bedtime. And then I have this pill that I need to take a long time before I wake up, but it can't have any food. I can't have any food on my stomach. So this actually lays on my bed. So for some reason or another, when I move and turn, hey, Barbara, when I move and turn early in the morning, I wake up because I hear these. So I go ahead and take them. You have to do what is good for you, right, Barbara? We have to consider that our executive our executive skills, our memory at times, and even our processing are slowed down by MS. I'll show you guys this. It will be my little quick. See this here. So I have my post-it notes. I have these large post-its on the wall, if you guys can see it, because I have to do things that will remind me of the things that need to be done, of the things that are of importance to me. So if a week down the line I forget to mention it, to do it, to schedule it, to whatever, it doesn't mean that's not important. It just means that I have forgotten, and that maybe I needed to put something up to be reminded of something. Those are the things that are invisible, the invisible part to multiple sclerosis. That's why multiple sclerosis is considered to be an invisible disease. So I wanted to jump on and talk about that because I know that there are people who have loved ones in their life who have multiple sclerosis, and you might say to yourself, but they walk fine. I don't understand what's going on. They say that they have this. They walk fine. They don't need a cane. They're not. I trip, so I always say tripping. They're not tripping. They're not falling down. First, MS is a snowflake illness. It Each of us suffer with different symptoms. Second, it is an invisible illness. Things such as processing, executive skills, memory, word find, those are invisible symptoms. And three, if you are newly diagnosed multiple sclerosis, give yourself time to get used to those things that you might not see yet. And you're blaming yourself for things, the way something is going on in your life. And this, what seems to be you, and it all seems to be in your head, it's not in your head. It's part of the illness. It's not in your head. It is part of the illness. Barbara, the last time you were on, what? Oh, the tablets to sleep. Okay. See, I have everything handy. Did you get some? Is Oli, or yeah, Oli, Olly. Not getting enough sleep till 4 or 5 a.m. I promise you, I hope that these work well for you as well as they work for me. And right now, the doctor kind of flipped some medicine that I'm on. So instead of taking it during the day, I'm taking it at night, other medicine. So it's actually helping me sleep. But seriously, these are 60 gummies. I had this for maybe 3 weeks, and I feel like they're almost gone. But it is Oli, and they're extra strength, and it's melatonin. It's melatonin in it. Promise you, just knocked me right out. I loved it. It says that the serving size are 2 gummies. I take the 2 gummies. Um, Good. I'm glad you wrote it down. I hope that it helps. I hope that talking about invisible symptoms, I hope those of you who are struggling with invisible symptoms are questioning whether or not it's just in your head because you don't see the physical symptoms of MS. It's not in your head. I need you to look up invisible symptoms. I'm sorry, I'm kind of crunching that lozenge is starting to get smaller. But um, just know that is not in your head. And make sure you come back, ask questions. I love answering questions. I have gotten better, so I'll be on back and forth and we'll keep talking. So, Barbara, oh, the thing with MS, yes, forgetfulness. Memory is one of those invisible illnesses. And that's why I showed all these post-it notes and those big post-its that I have. And I have markers and I just write all of these things down because memory is awful for me. Word find is horrendous. And my executive functioning skills. I realized as of late when I start to get off of a medicine that was helping me with one thing, but if my executive functioning was off, oh my gosh, it was already off and it just made it that much worse. And the people that are around me, if they don't understand it, it can just impact relationships, relationships with anyone, with work people, with family, friends, the whole 9 yards. So I'm starting to be a little more open about those things, about the invisible illness stuff, because people don't know what they don't see. Mm. People don't know what they don't see, and we have to start talking about it. You put your your purse, that bag in the refrigerator. I know. I've done this before. It might not have been a purse, but I put something like in the refrigerator and I had to like walk myself through it. Exactly. Thank you for saying that, Barbara, because we are so hard on ourselves anyway as women. We're so hard on ourselves because we feel like we have to do everything right. Plus, we do everything anyway. But when you're just going through what again seems like just normal things, and you just accidentally do something, to have to walk it back and be like, okay, I just came through the kitchen. I could swear I just had that with me. I don't see it anywhere on the counter. I mean, it changes your whole life because you have to have a everything in its place, have a place for all things and everything in its place. And that's the only way that I realize when things are awry, because I'm like, I know I just had like I make these little fruit cups at night, and this will be my last story. I make these fruit cups at night, and I try to put them correctly in order. Like I try to put the strawberries down in the juice, and then the bananas, then the blueberries, and I, repeat it. In order to make sure I do that right, I've told myself red, white, and blue. Only because I know the flag is red, white, and blue. So I have to remember strawberries, bananas, and blueberries. If for some reason, even if I'm doing that every single night, those cups, I still have to remind myself because my memory. So hopefully this helped some of you if you are thinking about your loved ones, or if you're newly diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It is a joy to be on here and talk to you all, and I will see you all tomorrow.